Hello, wankers.
Hello, Vankers. How's it going?
This is, it was the worst. We're in England. I just did a crazy flight. This was the worst day of my life. This was the worst day of my life. I was so upset, and now it's the best day of my life. I was like, we have the worst job. This is the worst job that we have to do this. And I was like, this is the best job in the world. I can't wait for this.
This race was the perfect encapsulation of what it means to be a Formula One fan, which is that for 90% of this race, I was like, why do we do this as our job? Why do we follow this fucking sport? This is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was falling asleep trying to keep track of, this track's so short. They're just lapping each other every 5 fucking seconds. Like it's annoying pit strategy. Who gives a shit? Max is cruising into the distance. And then the last 10 laps of this race were better than any sporting event I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
But I found myself getting angry. Before I found myself getting angry, I was like, damn, we're going to have to talk a lot about Gasly and Ocon today and try to figure out.
I was like, what are we going to talk about on the pod? What the fuck are we going to talk about?
Trying to figure out like undercut and how, running on low fuel loads and medium tires versus hard tires and like, just start procedures and just marginal bullshit. And then just what a fucking gift. What a fucking gift,
No, it was, today was so beautiful. It was like, I can't get over it. I cannot get over like everything that happened in the last 15 minutes of that race.
Well, you know what was great is it started off like a Terrence Malick movie and then turned into Quentin Tarantino, and I was just so happy.
Right.
It was like the most boring fucking movie set in the most beautiful place. And then it turned into just a killing, just a twist and turns. You know what's crazy is as I watched it on delay because I landed, I had to collapse. But I was texting you guys. I was like, if Lando doesn't win, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so mad. I was like, because we were thinking in the best, I don't know about you, Brian, but we're thinking in this binary term. The past couple of races, it's been like Lando or Max, Lando or Max. Lando doesn't win. Lando doesn't win. Lando doesn't win. When is Lando going to win? Lando was going to win. Max always wins. And then it was like, no, the best twist is when the third thing happens. And George, I was like, holy shit, George Russell's going to win this race? Russell is going to win this race?
Revelation of George Russell is what today was. It was the revelation of George Russell. It was Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
And George Russell came in from the gods and said, no, I will take this victory today and do it in the most George Russell fashion that could ever be done. I mean, today it just was filled with so many, like, just the drama of today. The friendships on the teetering on the edge that we've been talking about for like weeks. We've been talking about like what's going to happen between these two guys. They're buddy. They're on look at them on Max's private jet. Like, oh, that's so cute. Aren't they so cute? And now
they're friends. And hey, and Brian, Max has matured.
Yeah.
He's grown a lot.
Yeah, with this race, we're going to be talking about everything that happened today. We're going to be talking about the crash between Max and Lando, the waning friendship between Max and Lando, George Russell, and mostly just those three things. That's probably what we're going to be covering today. It's probably just going to be an hour of talking about that. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I got to say, I was a long flight. I watched The Beekeeper. I saw there's a movie with Jason Statham. I wanted to ask Yuki about if you've seen The Beekeeper. It's like a Jason Statham movie. I saw it got a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, if a Jason Statham movie gets a 70%, that's like 180% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it must be incredible.
I have to. It must be. You know what? It's just it's like a classic one of those movies where it's like, this guy's retired,
Right.
He's retired.
Yeah.
He's just a beekeeper. He just keeps bees. He's just a soft guy now. But then something pisses him off and he's back. Rambo, John Wick, Liam Neeson. They're like, I have a certain set of like, it's like they're normal guys and
pissed
then
off the wrong guy.
You pissed off the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we saw a little bit today where it's like everyone's saying Max was like, I'm retired. I'm not about that life anymore. You know?
Yeah.
I'm retired. It's like, no, Shady isn't back. Shady never left, dude. He's always been like the first time his metal is tested, he goes right back to terrorism.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that they put these rules into effect because of Max. Like,
and he broke him anyway.
They put like no moving under braking, I guess is like a rule in F1 because Max was just doing it all the time. And then today, after, years of now, Max is, oh, look at this guy. He's clean now. You know, we watched the Max Verstappen documentary. They were talking about how he's matured. We talked about it on the Patreon, just like how easily you revert, how easy it is to revert to your like core self, your base self.
Drama,
like,
you know, it reveals character. It reveals
yes.
You don't really see what a guy's like when the chips are up and things are easy. You know, it's when they're down,
right?
You know, where
right.
the dog comes out, where you back Max into a corner. I mean, and what was fun was it was like a thriller because you saw him slowly unraveling. He's bitching about the wind. He's bitching about the tires. The stop was slow, and
yes.
and you heard it in his. You could hear the panic starting to grow in his voice. Where it's like he's like starting to, the werewolf was coming, like he's like, oh no, he's like he's starting to contort, you know, the full moon. You could slowly see the clouds part and the full moon come out, and he's starting to turn into the werewolf. The Jekyll and Hyde come out, and after the slow pit stop, you heard him just say, "Oh my God." And GP was like, try engine mode 6. And he just went, no, like a child, like an obstinate child. It's like, he didn't want to eat the broccoli. And they're like, well, would you try some carrots? No. Right. He was just literally regressing before our very eyes. And you could just see him just kind of slowly fucking turning into the werewolf. It was awesome. You're like, you saw it. I'm like, and you're sitting there being like, oh yes, he's turning into the werewolf. And what was really funny was how surprised Lando was. Lando's like, what is he doing? He's moving under braking. What is going on? and nobody else watching is, we're like, oh no, this is bad. And everyone else is like thinking this is inevitable. I think that was what's crazy because Lando's like his friend. It's crazy. Like the closer you are, the more the harder it is for you to see the truth. But Lewis Hamilton's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like, he's watching it on the screen, being like, that's the guy I worked with in 2021. Yeah. That's that asshole that fucking did that all the time. You know, Lewis Hamilton's like, why are you surprised that he's this way? But Lando's like, my friend Max.
He's like, my buddy. We ride on the jet plane together, and we play cards, and we text each other sometimes, and it's really nice. Why is he being like this with me?
His surprise at it was so funny to me. He's moving under braking. It's like, were you in a coma in 2021?
Yeah. No, because Lando, but the thing is, Lando's never had to actually deal with that, Max. It's kind of like when you have a friend who like has bad shit with other people, but then he's always been good with you. You're like, I've always had pleasant experiences with this person. So you're like, you kind of don't believe what other people tell you about that friend. And then all of a sudden, like, you're in the situation with the friend and you see the friend's eyes like turn and you're like, oh shit, like I now know what everyone else was talking to about my friend here.
It's like when a girl is in a platonic relationship, like has a platonic fuckboy friend. Yeah. She's like, oh, I love him. He's the best. And then she fucks him. And then she's like, wait a minute, oh God, this is horrible how he's treating me. It's like, you haven't been fucking with him. You've been he's fun to get brunch with, but anytime it goes beyond that, it's different.
And let's remember, like, Lando's rep before this was that Lando kind of would always let people, like, he never put up a fight. If it wasn't his fight, he was like, I don't put up the fight. Like, if it was like, my race isn't really with Max, so like, why am I gonna like, burn my tires trying to like defend against him? Like, he's not Lando's not like an on-site kind of guy. He has to like know exactly like, who am I fighting? Why am I fighting that person? And today we saw a different side of Lando Norris. We saw something different today.
It's funny. It's like, it was so interesting because like Max can just get to the high note immediately. Like Max can just go,
right.
Ah! But we were watching over a course of episodes, Lando going,
right.
Yes. Just higher and higher and higher. And
right.
Finally he got there. We were like, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
He got to the psycho level, but it didn't come. And that was the result. And maybe that just has to be the way it is. It was satisfying.
But weren't you thrilled by that? Weren't you thrilled?
I was
thrilled by Lando's. Lando was like, this was a whole other person. Like, what we saw today from Max was something that we had seen before. But what we saw today from Lando was something that I have not seen before.
Yes.
Lando
he went into the deep waters and he discovered himself a little bit.
Yeah, he just was fucking sending it, dive, like arguably stupid moves, wildly aggressive shit. But I was literally like watching Lando. I was like, who is this? Max fucking Verstappen racing against Max Verstappen? This is amazing.
No, it's like, no, if you want to, I forgot. It's like, if you want to kill a monster, you have to become a monster. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we're watching him slowly.
Right.
Yeah. He's slowly becoming he's like, oh shit, I have to turn into a werewolf too in order to beat the werewolf.
Yeah. Ask Nico Rosberg what that's like. I mean, Nico Rosberg had to become a thing that on some level he wasn't really that comfortable being in order to beat Lewis Hamilton. And he was so uncomfortable being it that the second that year was done, he said, I'm never doing this again. I'm quitting. But for that year, he was able to kind of put on the skin.
I mean, it's like Lando seemed so depressed afterwards. He was so disappointed that his friend, it reminded me of, it reminded me of like when him and Carlos got into it, like on track. I forgot which, and then there's that great clip of, you don't see what he's saying, where like Lando like goes like a puppy dog over to Carlos, and Carlos is basically like, fuck off, I don't want to talk to you. And Lando's like sad.
Right, I remember that.
Cause Lando catches feelings, it seems like. And it's like, wait, these are my friends a little bit. And it's sad that you're like watching that part of him that's going to have to slowly die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's like, when when I think back to conversations I had with my parents when I'm like 15, they're like, wait till you get older. Let's see if you feel that way. And I'm like, no, like you're so full of hope. And it's like, you're watching, this is like a moment where like this is like a watershed moment where it's like, oh, you can't really trust your friends on track.
Yes.
Like I am actually no different than Lewis Hamilton. He sees me the same way.
Right.
He's,
right. And some of these guys learn that from a really early age. I think Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly learned that at an early age about each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen learned that about each other at a very early age. That's why everyone's so obsessed with the incident video, is that like you're watching a child grapple with this thing. Like these literal like prepubescent children are like acting like fucking savages, and you're like, and that's why it's like
it's Lord of the Flies. It's Lord of the Flies.
Right.
You're like it's Lord of the. It's like and it's literally the stakes are that high because if you don't, you die. Your career is over. Like and you have no other skills. Like you become a driver. Like the fall off from P1 Carter to P3 Carter is catastrophic in what happens, you know?
Yeah, and now they're at this top level, and then it's about like legacy, and it's about ego, and it's about like, what am I going to be like? What am I going to be remembered for? And that's like kind of the motivator, I think, for people in this stage of their life. And I feel like Lando has just kind of like, he has existed in like this safe bubble. Like he's had job
He never
security.
had to worry. Yeah, he never had to. Well, coming up, he never had to worry about like funding. He never had to worry about, like, if he got P2, he was still going to advance to the next level. You know, he was like, where it's like, oh, if Lewis doesn't win every fucking event that he's in, like, he's never going to get noticed.
Right. Yes.
You know, and I mean, Max had that security, but he had some guy, but that dog was instilled in another way.
Right.
You know,
I also think he had less security, because I do think, like, you know, Jos Verstappen, as much as he was like in F1 for a long time, it wasn't necessarily like a cake. I don't know. I feel like it was a harder life for.
It was. Yeah, I think he had the money to pay.
Not
for
in the same way that Lando's parents did.
Of course,
not in the same way that Lando's.
Of course,
like they drove in the van places. I feel like Lando probably like flew pretty, not like flew business. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there was a hardness to Max's childhood.
I also think if Jos didn't think he was up to snuff, he would just pack it in.
Right.
Or if he didn't think he was taking it as seriously as he needed to take it. I think as Jos pulls the plug on it.
Well, let's not forget that Jos would tell Max that he's, did your dad think you'd be a Formula One driver? No, he thought I'd be a truck driver. That's what he would tell me every day.
Yeah, yeah. This killer instinct, I don't know if it was instilled in him. He never had that do or die, and he's slowly being dragged there. I mean, you said that the other day about Khabib, about the going. Yeah. Max is dragging him into the deep waters, into the, where he can discover himself. I mean, I was still pissed off at Lando Norris. He still exceeded track. He didn't nail the start. He had track limits. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a start that he's hulking out. He's going werewolf, but I mean, you got to be faultless. You can't make mistakes. I mean, you can make mistakes in being aggressive, but the fucking black and white flags. I was like, dude, come on. What is going on here? You can't be making mistakes.
Well, was he making mistakes, or was he like driving like a psycho? Was he driving like a psycho trying to get by Max? I feel like that's kind of part of it, was that he was going on tilt.
He was on black and white for incidents that had nothing to do with like their racing. Like he was just going really fast and would exceed the track limits.
Oh, I thought that it was like kind of it like the last couple were like as he was like in the pursuit of Max. It wasn't necessarily like on the dive bomb. I mean, the final one was on the dive bomb, but it was like kind of in the pursuit. But regardless, you're right. And what's also so funny about that piece of the puzzle is that like it was strategically stupid for Max to do what he did. Like Max could have let him by. Put up a fight, let him by, and just kept him because he was about to get a penalty. He was about to get a 5-second penalty.
That's why this whole thing is a shambles. That's why the FIA is a fucking shambles. It's because they didn't know that.
Well, it seemed
they were kind
clear.
of waiting. They were waiting.
Right.
These guys were kind of waiting to see how it would play out. Like they didn't want to give Max the impeding. The unsafe release. They're kind of like they kind of want to let the kids play a little bit. Like they really don't want to they really don't want to let one of these penalties decide a victory.
Right.
So after they only announced it they said Lando got the penalty pretty late. He had the penalty and then
right. Yeah.
But I think McLaren didn't tell Lando because they wanted Lando to be engaged, but they should have told Max. Red Bull should have told Max, probably. Because then
they absolutely should have told Max. I mean, or did they not tell Max? Was Max unaware that was like a part of the deal? I can't imagine that they were like.
Max was unaware, because I remember watching the race and they were saying, "Oh, Lando's getting a 5-second time penalty," but McLaren's not going to tell him that. They're just going to let him cook. But they should be like, hey, Lando has a 5-second time penalty. Let him through.
Yeah, let him. But even still, it's like, I like to, my feelings don't care about the facts. Like, I'd like to believe in the world where Max knew that Lando had the 5-second penalty and was like, no, he's still not getting by me. I am willing to, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he will still, like, I will move under braking in order to keep my rep and put this kid in his fucking place. No, I'm not going to let him get by me on strategy. Fuck that. It matters more.
And I'm not going to give the place back. I'm not going to give the place back. Where Lando was like, he's got to give that place back because he went back. He went wide and then went ahead. And,
yeah.
And I was like, you want to get past me? You have to literally get past me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was. That was probably one of the best finishes to any race. Has there been a better finish to a race? I mean, I don't know if them colliding.
Abu Dhabi 2021 was pretty good.
I mean, through goes George Russell, and we have to talk more about the Max and Lando thing. But when it dawned on us that George Russell, 20 minutes behind them, could win this fucking race.
Yeah, I think he was like 16 seconds behind them.
When I texted you, did you? Because you watched ahead of me, were you kind of being like, Did you know that I was going to love it?
Yes, I was like, just wait.
I was like, because I was texting, I was like, if Lando, I can't watch Lando try and fail again. I just can't. It's getting too hard for me. And then I was like, wait, no, this is way better. This is Lando man the fuck up. Sent it a bunch of times, and it was unstoppable force meets immovable object. Great, zeroed each other out. Through goes George Russell, and we got a fucking talk about growing up a little bit. George Russell grew up a little bit today.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Hold on. Let me get the exact when Toto was like,
yes.
When Toto goes. See, Toto loves the spotlight, dude. He loves the spotlight. He wants to make it about him. So it's like these two fucking titans. It's like it's Game of Thrones and like the fucking
the mountain.
Patrick Payne has become king now because so many people are dead. You know what I mean? All the players are dead, and it's like we're in the 900th. We're not even Harry. Prince Harry's not even king. It's like Prince Harry's second cousin is becoming king. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and George is like lucked into this amazing opportunity. And then Toto just goes, George, you can win this. And George just goes, just let me fucking drive. I couldn't believe he said that. Because he wants to, and that's why I love this sport. This is the only sport where like a guy can talk to a billionaire that way. Right. And then the billionaire goes and apologizes. I mean, what an idiot, Toto. He's talking during his backswing. Yeah. Because Toto was saying later, he goes, George, I'm sorry. Like, I should have been talking when you were under braking. And then George like sunned him. It's like he goes. Toto goes. I was just excited. He goes. You were excited. I was like, George wasn't even that pumped when he won. He just went, yabba dabba doo. Like, dude, this is your second win. This is a huge deal. And he just went yabba dabba doo. And dude, how I've been saying this for the real ones. I've been listening for years. I've been saying this. He is a white version of Get Out. He's an old white guy in a young white guy's body. Right. Because the Yabba Dabba Doo, like, that is such an old cartoon.
That's crazy for him to say.
He's pulling Hanna-Barbera out of the fucking bag when he wins a race.
Yeah.
Russell. He's the Russell. We go together like DRS and Austria. Exactly. It would have been better if we went, wowza.
Yeah.
It's so boss, man. That was such a boss win, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
I love him so much, dude.
Yeah.
I was so proud of him for telling Toto to shut the fuck up. Because it's so annoying when Toto does it.
That was beautiful, and you could tell that he was like loving. There was something kind of flirty about it. He was like, "You did get excited, Toto. Look at me with the power now. Like, you wet yourself a little bit, Toto. Yeah, you got a little bit of trickle there, bud.
It's okay. It's okay. We know how Toto gets. It's crazy because it's like, wait a minute, George, you're the one who like loses their shit,
right? No, and then it was he wasn't in an opportunity. He wasn't in a position to lose his shit today because it was like he was so far behind and he was like all alone. He was just like alone, 15 seconds behind, and up ahead they fuck up, and then he gets to like just cruise into victory. And it was so funny. The whole process of George winning, because it's like then there's the virtual safety car because Lando and Max's tires, they've just like their shit is just all over the track. They're just remnants of bodies, them everywhere. And so then it's like there's
the remnants of their friendship just scattered across the track.
Yes, just burnt rubber, the last remains of Lando and Max's fucking bromance.
Here lies Lando and Max's bromance.
Yeah, literally. God forbid Lando and Carlos Sainz are ever in a position where they're like going for the title, because like I think it's kind of devastating that Max is like turning in Lando's eyes. But if he and Carlos, we saw that one time where like they had that spat, but like if this was Carlos, I don't know what Lando would do.
I think he's closer
that he would
with
be
Max, ironically. Like
I don't
was
think
at Penelope's birthday party.
Yeah, but I think that's because Max like doesn't have any other friends. I don't think it's because like they have such an amazing. But I think that like Max is not that close with a lot of people, so like Lando's in there. But like I think that Lando like
I see. Lando has
senior kind of
Max. I see what you're saying. So I see. So like, Max considers Lando his best friend in F1. Lando considers Max like one of his 2 or 3 best friends in F1.
Right. Yes.
I see.
100%. But back to what I was saying, that it was the whole process of George Russell winning. It's like the VSC happens, whatever. He keeps the win, he wins. Then he gets out of the car. He does the pose. Oh. He does the fucking starting pose.
He didn't stick it though.
He like half did it. He like half did the pose. I was like, George, I'd rather you just get up there. Just hit us with the pose. But he kind of half does the pose because he's like kind of embarrassed because like it's not
threw it away. He threw it away.
He threw it away because at the end of the day, like this isn't really like his win. And like, but he was kind of trying to make it feel like it was his win. Because then,
that's
like,
interesting. It's not that he isn't. It's not that he hasn't embraced the pose. It's that he has ambivalence about this win.
Yes, because then he went. Then he's in the cooldown room, and all 3 guys in the cooldown room are like, "We're not supposed to be here. This is awkward." But I think, especially for like Piastri and Sainz, they're like, "Yeah, like it's whatever. It's awkward that we're here. We shouldn't even be here." Where George is like trying to feel the like high of his win. But he knows deep down that it's like compromised. But so then when he's looking at
it's like your favorite show has just been completely recast.
Yeah,
with new actors. You're like, who are these guys? What is this?
And people are like saying the same. They're saying the same lines that your old favorite actors used to say, the catchphrases, and you're like, this doesn't really sit well. But
a bunch of understudies. You get the sheet at Broadway. You're like, oh fuck, they're replacing 5. There's 5 understudies going on tonight. Shit.
Right. Yeah. I had a friend who was understudying Daniel Radcliffe in the Merrily We Roll Along on Broadway, and I was like, that's a brutal understudy because that like people are going there to see Daniel Radcliffe.
How many people just walk out of that theater?
You don't walk out. I mean, but like, I think if you're like an uber Harry Potter fan, it must be like, if you're there because like Harry Potter is your fucking life and you are like dying to see Daniel Radcliffe in person, that's fucking devastating. But my friend's very, very talented. Shout out to Kobe. Nevertheless, no, but George is looking at they're all watching the battle between Max and Lando. And George was like, George goes like, yeah, it's, it was fun to watch that. It's a fun battle up there. And then Oscar, in just perfect Oscar fashion, just goes, well, yeah, you wouldn't have won the race otherwise.
No, but amazingly, well, Oscar was little on edge because he could have.
Yes,
he wanted the scraps. He almost had those scraps for himself.
Those scraps
were very much on the table. Well, I mean, they should have been his if he hadn't gotten the track. Was it track limits that got him, or did he cross the pit lane?
Yeah, it was track limits. It was like, no, it was track limits. It was track limits during qualifying, which is just like, there was a gravel trap. There's a gravel trap in the turn where he went off, and the gravel trap is there to like
he
prevent
lost
people.
Time.
Well, it's not even that he lost time, but it's like if you can put it onto like and barely like get as far onto the gravel trap as physically possible, then like you're good. Like there shouldn't be track limits when you've put like a penalty in the area where the track limits used to be. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. Because it always slows you down.
He shouldn't have even gotten that penalty to begin with. So yeah, he should have been in third place. And yeah, if everything had worked out that way, then it would have been his victory. He would have won the fucking race.
He was pissed off, man. He was snitching on people. He snitched on Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
He snitched on Lewis for crossing the pit lane.
He did.
Is this Italian boy breaking omerta finally? Yes. I like to think, my feelings don't care about your facts, but I like to think they're like, Oscar, you gotta snitch on people. Because apparently it's not that they're snitches. It's like there's literally too many cars on the track for the FIA to regulate this stuff. So you have to, if you see something, you have to call it out. Otherwise, they're not going to take a notice of it.
No, that's the only way. It's like that. That's the way it has to happen. You have to let them know for them to be like, look over here.
But he did it like reluctantly. He's like, Lewis crossed the pit lane. Whereas like George Russell will be like, and that's a pit lane crossing for Norris. Norris crossed pit lane. False start. My favorite is like, there was one where Russell had like an epic start, like overtook somebody and snitched at the same time. Like,
yeah.
Like he's like, false start, Norris. And they're just like,
yeah.
And it was like, damn, it's like breathing for him. It's just like breathing for him. I love George Russell so much. I don't know when this happened. It was such a violent swing. Remember when we started, I hated George Russell, and now he's like one of my favorites.
Well, he's so easy. It's like when you realize that it's like, that's the thing with George. So like you have to just embrace the fact that like his cringe is the good part. Like what makes him cringy is what makes him beautiful. The fucking pose on the car and the like him saying that thing in the fucking cool down room and the yabba dabba doo and the yalla baba bing bong and like all that stuff that like kind of cringes people out. That he's so the opposite of Lewis Hamilton in every way.
He is the anti-Lewis. He's so uncool. It's like
he's uncool
when they do the Tommy Hilfiger fits together, and I'm like, they got Lewis like dripped out, and he just looks like me in 8th grade with my polo and jeans.
Like Lewis would just never say anything that George Russell has ever said.
Lewis has never ever said yabba dabba doo. I don't think anyone under 50 has ever said yabba dabba doo.
I've never said that phrase. That would never come into my mind to say.
And we're old enough. I'm old enough. I watched the Flintstones. They were not my favorite. It was like one of those early morning ones.
Right.
Like they were the best you could get when we were little. Like Saturday morning, you're up early. You get Flintstones. You get Jetsons. You get Johnny Quest.
Jetsons.
Remember Johnny Quest? Like you get these weird sort of deep cuts.
Right.
But a guy his age, 25, 26, to be quoting the Flintstones is just wild. It's Gen X behavior. At least.
Is he? Who is that person?
Yeah.
Like, who is he?
Yeah, and what's crazy
so
is
fascinating.
But when he's really heated, he's not that way. Like it's like a persona that's the weird part. It's a persona that he chooses.
Right.
It's not like he chooses a cool persona and then it falls away. Like, I feel like Lewis actually chooses a cool persona, but deep down is like a freak and a psycho and a nerd. And like, if you watch like early clips of Lewis, like, he didn't have that cool guy persona.
No, he wasn't he wasn't suave at all. He was like a little freak.
Yeah.
And he figured
a little
out
prodigy.
how to be cool.
Yeah. And he was like, this is something that famous people do, is they cloak themselves in a persona to protect the real person. Yeah. And Lewis, the superstar, versus Lewis, the man, are like two completely different people. It's just crazy to me that George has like crafted just the lamest persona ever, because he'll say, "Oh, sugar," but then when he's actually mad, he'll say, "Fucking cunt, cocksucking motherfucker." Like, you know, he'll actually say the bad words. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not. It's a choice to be this corny.
No, it's like it's what he dresses in. It's like when he opens his closet, he said, "What shall I wear today? A little yabba dabba doo with a side of sugar."
Like, when I do lame shit, I'm like, well, that's just me. I'm just lame. I try not to choose lameness.
Right.
That's what I love about George. He chooses to be lame.
It's what's beautiful about him. It's like, who would do that? Only George Russell. He's so fascinating. Even like the picture that like Mercedes used for like his, like when he did his I-1 picture, it's just so fucking like, it's so like punched over and fucking like it's so weird.
I love him so
bizarre.
much. He might be my favorite driver. He's one of them. Yeah, it was, honestly, that would have been a knife in Lando's heart, though, if Oscar had won it. That would have been so much worse.
That would have been tough. that would have been rough. But also at the same time, I don't know, because I don't know, Lando's on some other shit right now. I don't think Lando's thinking about Oscar like at all. I mean, when he went back into the pits, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm not winning this race. Don't put me back out there." Like, he maybe could have like.
I think he had more damage. I think he had more damage. He's really thinking about points. I mean, what's ironic is if they had gone 1-2.
Yeah.
Like, them both finishing 1-2, this is a better result for Max. Because Max gets like, I don't know, 5 or 6 points, and Lando gets fucking 0.
Yeah.
Whereas if Lando had won, he would have gotten 5 points. It would have been around the same. But
no, Max got like 18 points. He got 18 points.
He got 18 points? Jesus.
I think it's maybe. Yeah.
No.
He got 18 points.
Where did he finish? Today. 5th? No, he finished like 5th, didn't he?
Over the weekend, Max got 18 points. Lando got 6.
Damn.
That's the weekend result.
Yeah, you just got to watch this season with a gerbil brain and forget. You got to just watch each race as it comes and just kind of forget about the season.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I know it was like ultimately like a bad result for Lando, but I think that like, I think it was a good weekend for him, like vibes wise, rep wise.
Yeah. I mean, Max is going to have to recalibrate or not, or he'll just like, yeah, we can crash every time. That's fine with me. Well, I'd rather crash than lose.
Right. Well, after the race, there was like there was some fighting words being thrown around because like Lando
was it fighting words, or was like, it was more like, you guys going to talk about it? Like, I have nothing to say to him. If he wants to say something to me, I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, it was really like hard to watch. Like, it was like, this guy is hurt. His feelings are hurt. You know, I mean, if he wants to say something to me, he can say something. I mean, and he goes, I gave the respect. That was Lando's like, I gave him respect. Like, he lunged.
Yes.
but there was room. There was room left. I was a respectful psycho.
Yeah, no.
Whereas Max was a disrespectful psycho. And I think he was hurt. And that, it sucks, man, to watch, like, you know, that gooey part of him. It's gonna have to go away. It's gonna be gone in a few years, I think. Like, he's just like, I mean, I remember, you know, when I was a kid, my dad would just be like, I don't trust anybody. He would just tell me, yeah, you don't trust. And I go, I trust my friends. I would say that to him.
Right.
My dad goes, you trust your friends? They'd sell you out for a nickel. He would tell me these things because my dad had been fucked over so many times by his friends, right? So it's just like, that's where, in Formula One, that's where you kind of have to be a little bit. Just smoking a cigarette, being like, friendship isn't worth the fucking paper it's printed on, you know, Formula One.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's like, I think that people have that. It's like, there's ways of, I often say, like, when people, and it's interesting with it's like when people get mad at how people are, like when people get like upset, it's like I think that like Lando's upset because like Max did what he did. But I think that's because Lando, it's like expectation is the thief of joy. Yeah. And maybe Lando, there's a pure of heartness with Lando where he's like,
well, we talked about it. He thought he was different than the other girls. Well, he thought that they could do it, maybe. Right. And it's like, hey, you haven't been paying attention. Because it was shocking. It was shocking to nobody else.
Right. You have to recognize that, like, when you're in, when you have friendships that are, when there's other elements involved with them, it's like, we're here, we're friends. We're the reason that we're friends, the reason we even know the fuck we are, the other person is because we're competitors at the highest level in this, like, cutthroat world, in this thing. And that's not to say that you can't have friends in Formula One and in that game. But, like, you have to understand what the parts of the element is. And I think what's actually really interesting is that where the real friendships can exist in that type of sport is when you, like, start out with hatred. Like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Like, they came in being like, fuck that guy. I'm the most competitive person here. Like, fuck this person. And they were, like, competitive at the start. And then afterwards, they were able to, like, find friendship. But they started with what it was. Like, they started the friendship with, like, the basis of, like, what they were there to do. And then they were able to find shit on the other side. Whereas, like, Lando is like, Max is cool. He's fun. And they respected it. Yeah, but yeah, they gained
also,
respect.
I'm sure like Max was kind of the elder statesman a little bit, and I'm sure it's kind of hard for Lando because Max was like, your time will come, don't worry, like, because Max is very encouraging. Like Liam Lawson talks about like how encouraging Max was, and you know, off the track, he's very magnanimous. He's very like, and I'm sure Lando's like, I guarantee you, Lando not has cried on the phone to him, but kind of cried on the phone to him, but like, it's not fair. Like, McLaren sucks. Like, you know, what the fuck? I can't believe I can't believe I'm fucking stuck here. It's not, you know, it's not fair. It's, you know, the classic Max, it's not fair. And he goes, dude, fair. It's gonna happen for you. And I'm gonna be, and I'm sure he's been that way because we've heard that he's like that. Right. And then when it is like that, to feel like he just kind of spitefully took it from you, like today was not Max's day a little bit. Like just right. Just there's kind of like, hey, I'll get him next week. Maybe that's maybe what Lando was like, okay, you had the faster car this week, but then you fucking threw it away. So it's my turn. Yeah. Like, we're going to kind of like, when you get a 10 out of 10, you'll win. Yeah. When I get a 10 out of 10 and you get a 9 out of 10, I win. Like, like, sorry, bud. That could have been the vibe. Like, hey, dude, best man won today. Like, you just didn't bring your A game today. So just fucking tank the set and get him next set. Right. Why do you have to fucking take him out?
Because it's just what Max does. He just cannot fucking help himself. And I don't know what to like make. So there's been a whole bunch of like talk around it. You know, there's the thing, there's what they said about each other, where it's like ultimately what Lando said was like, you know, yeah, like I'm not going to say anything to him. Like he has to, like, he's in the wrong, so he should like say something to me. Now, what they asked
which is such a thing that I probably said about you and why we haven't talked for months or something like that. It's such
you actually that's such a you move.
Well, what am I going to say to him? I didn't do anything wrong.
You're like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so it's like it's up to this other person to apologize.
And then you end up standing on ceremony. But it's such a 20-year-old fucking argument. Such a 20-year-old thing to have happen. Well, I just think that it's he also must be demoralized because the past couple of weeks he was like, well, I didn't nail it. You know, Max was perfect and I was not. Max got 100 on the test and I got a 95, so I lose. And that's been the past couple of weeks. And it's like, oh shit, Max got a 90 on the test and I might have gotten a 91 and I still fucking lost because he flipped the board over. And it's like, that's crushing. It's like, even when I outscore him on the test, I still might fucking not win because he's so crazy. That's
right. And then you're like, oh, like, things don't make sense anymore. It's like you start to feel like a gaslit. You're like, wait, like the world doesn't actually, like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. What the fuck is that about? Now, what's interesting is that when they asked Max about it after the fact, he was like, he was a little bit like, I'm gonna look at it and see what it was. Let me look at it before I comment.
This is the Max Verstappen equivalent of like falling on the sword and begging for forgiveness. That's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, we'll talk about it. We're going to talk. Like, it's going to be, I'll make it nice. And but he also was like, he's not calling him for maybe a few days. Or texting
he's going to let it cool down.
He's going to let it cool down. You know, it's almost better. I'm sure Lando feels worse about this one than like when he fucked up the start. Cause he's like, well, if I get the start right, then I'll win. You know what I mean? It's like, no. You could get the start right and still lose, which is devastating.
Well, no, he learned. It's like, but it's also like, you're going to learn today. And Lando learned today. It's not just about
what?
Like, hey.
What is there to learn? Like, if this guy's going to crash into you every time you try to send it, what is there to learn?
There's stuff to learn. There's stuff to learn. You learn how to counter with a guy like that. It's like, if it's like boxing. It's like, if you know that you're in with a guy, it's like Lewis learned Max. Lewis learned how to fucking deal with Max that 2021 season.
No, he didn't. He basically lost with a largely superior car. You know?
Yeah, but he
it took him a longer time. Yeah, it took him a minute, and he's like, all right, I guess we're doing this, and I'm throwing you into the wall in Silverstone. There was a bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. And with the Monza moment, and with the Brazil, when he was like, I know what this kid's gonna fucking do. Like, he's going to be a psycho, and I'm at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna be annoyed on the radio, but I'm not gonna be like, guys, fix it. I'm going to like continue to hammer this kid until there's nothing else that he can do. I'm going to make myself inevitable to his bullshit.
It doesn't equate beating. All these examples are just crashes.
But it can. I think it can, because it's like, I think of it like a boxer. It's like, if you know that like a guy is going to fight dirty, you can like either fight dirty back. You know, it's not like there's just no solution to like Max Verstappen. It's like you just know that you're not going to like go into a fair fight with him, so you have to like play dirty.
Or crazy, this is crazy, maybe the referees can, like, keep these guys more honest.
No.
Let them. It's called a motor race.
It's called a motor race, Toto. We went car racing. So, well, what's interesting about that is that Andrea Stella, let me find the quote
he said, he says Red Bull has learned nothing. They're the same. And, basically, I'm paraphrasing, unless the FIA fucking regulates this, it's going to get out of hand.
Right.
That was the
And
essential.
he said, like, he said essentially, like, in 2021, they didn't govern this properly. There aren't the proper channels to make sure that this thing doesn't happen, and there need to be. And then he said something that was interesting. He's like, we respect Max, we respect Red Bull, and I don't know why he's doing, like, he doesn't need to do this, is what he said. Which was an interesting thing for him to say, and I think because it speaks to that he's thinking about, like, rep, he's thinking about, like, legacy. And this is a huge thing that's, like, talked about around Red Bull. It's a huge thing that's talked about around Max. It's 2021 encapsulates it, is that they were like, yes, there was a dominance, but at what cost? And did these and was there a fairness to how these guys did it? Now, what's also interesting is that when you look back at Schumacher, or you look back even at, like, Senna, Prost, there's tons of great champions who's, like, at the time, there was a ton of controversy. Like, Schumacher was filled with controversy in the early part of his career.
Oh, yeah. With his crash. He crashed out. He did 2 crashes. He did Damon Hill and he did Villeneuve. Yes. The fucking psychotic, 2 psychotic championship deciding moves.
Right, but then what the vibe with him was that, like, yeah, he did that when he was young, and that's how he got his early championships. But then as he matured, he was able to not do that, and he was able to do it the right way, blah, blah, blah. And that was the rep of Max. Max was like, listen, in 2021, he had to do what he had to do. Like, he was doing whatever he had to do, and now he's matured. And what's really fascinating about this is that, like, there is a reversion, is where we started off the episode, is like, he's now back to, like, oh, wait, this kid, like, maybe hasn't learned, hasn't grown. And we'll see what he does. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But certainly today, he reverted. Yes.
This is a classic Paul Thomas Anderson movie where, like, a guy is a certain way. He tries to change.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's Daniel Day-Lewis in, what the fuck is that movie?
There'll Be Blood.
Oil movie. There'll Be Blood, where he's like, he tries to be a good guy, and then he's like, never mind. I'm just a fucking ass. Like,
yeah,
I'm actually going to beat this guy to death with a bowling pin at the end. And I'm just a
and
son
be
of
so
a bitch.
Self-satisfied at the end and end with, I'm finished.
Yeah. Right. Or Mark Wahlberg with Mark Wahlberg. He's a loser. He fucking becomes a big star. It all goes to his head. It all falls apart. And you think at the end he's going to be humble, but no. At the end of the movie, he's like whipping his dick out, and he's just like, I'm a star. And it's like, these guys, they are who they. This is a harder movie to pull off, where it's like, because usually when you're taught how to write a movie, you're like, the character needs to change. It's like, no, some of these movies, like PTA movies, like, oh, no, this movie is about how the fuck they just, no matter what happens, they stay the fuck the same. They try to change, but they can't. Yes. And that's Max. Max is looking at Lando's dead body and going, I'm finished. Chasing him around the fucking, I'm a false prophet and my God does not exist, or whatever the drainage, Norris. Drainage.
It's fucking beautiful. All right, let's get into our awards, shall we?
God, dude, we didn't talk about one driver really that wasn't the two of those guys. George, a little. Well, it's just, who cares?
We can get into we can get into some other people now. How about we do that? Let's start off with our payback of the day, brought to you by Cash App. Who do you have for payback of the day?
Payback of the day. Who got revenge? I feel like Lewis is feeling quite seen today. Like, Lewis is like, this is what I was talking. What's funny is all the Lando fans, like all the Gen Z Lando fans, are like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And Lewis is like, I've been telling you this guy is sus. I wouldn't say it's a payback for Lewis. I'd say it's vindicating. It's quite vindicating.
Right. Yeah. It's vindicating and validating for Lewis that this all is coming, to the light without him.
Also very triggering. Also very triggering to Lewis. I'm sure it's hard for Lewis to hear, like, oh no, Max has changed. Lewis is like, nah, he's just in a fat. Like, Lewis is like, no, He's not changed.
Yeah.
That's probably not it though. This is a canon.
He just doesn't have to fight. How about a bunch of people are writing in saying Gasly's ciao to Esteban Ocon?
Honestly, it was. I
Cringe.
thought it was a little cringe. I was like, dude,
A bit cringe.
Not only did you pass him for like P7 or P8, which for Alpine is like winning the Super Bowl. I understand that.
Right.
By the way, Alpine in the points, Haas double points, Williams. Should Carlos be going to Haas now? Like, what's going on?
I think that Carlos Sainz should probably go to Haas. I think that would be the smart move for him to do.
Yeah, I mean the chow, and then he immediately pitted, passed him, pitted.
Yeah,
I think like it's like I think he was trying to pass him to get preferential strategy. Another when he tried to send it on Ocon, that was like the most interesting part of the race. Another like, why are you surprised? He goes, he pushed me off. What the fuck? I'm like, Gasly, why are you shocked that he did this? It's crazy. Absolutely psycho. And then he's like, ciao on your own team.
Right.
It's just like, it was cringe. I thought it was cringe. But sure, I'll give it to him.
Or is it George, like, just, I don't know what the payback, maybe payback to Toto a bit.
George telling Toto. Yes, that was the payback.
Calm down.
To shut the fuck up.
Yeah, babe, you've been overlooking me for a while now, and let's remember that I'm number one boy here.
Yeah,
I am numero uno boy. So I'm gonna give.
Just let me fucking drive. He sounded like he didn't even sound like him. He sounded like Liam Neeson or something. He sounded great. Just let me fucking drive. Get off my nuts. No, just let me fucking drive is who he really is. That's the crazy part. Is he really is like a Steven Seagal type guy, but he just hides it. Just let me fucking drive. It's Clint Eastwood, dude.
Yeah. Also another maybe payback of the day is also maybe a little Daniel Ricciardo. Also Daniel Ricciardo, secretly good weekend. While there's
secretly
a bunch
good
of
weekend.
Swirling rumors around him, getting ousted, about his future, that he put together a solid weekend.
It's crazy that his future is in jeopardy when Checo, how many seconds did he finish behind Max when Max like crashed, had a puncture and a penalty? Where did Checo fit? I know we shouldn't be piling on Checo because it's just, but it's, can we just see the gap between them? But how much time?
He finished.
How much time
he finished
between him and Max?
Like 17 seconds behind Max.
17 seconds behind Max. Max had a penalty and a puncture and had to pit.
Yeah.
And had to pit to change his fucking, and an extra pit stop. That is so crazy. That is so absolutely insane. And everyone's like, is Daniel going to keep his seat? I'm like, what? Why is Daniel's attributes off the track are similar to Checo's? So why like if we're just going by like vibes, Daniel should be safe.
It is crazy.
In that program.
It's crazy.
He beats his teammate more than fucking Checo does. I know one teammate is Max and one teammate is Yuki, but they're Yuki and Max, I would argue, are similarly skilled.
I agree.
Just an objective take.
Vankas, not only does Cash App sponsor our favorite perfectly branded Formula One team, but they also make it easier for you to save money so you can do the things you love, like going to an F1 race, which we are going to do this weekend, and Cash App is help making it possible. We love Cash App. Listen, to be honest, we thought that Cash App was just a way to send people money, but it's also a faster and simpler way to bank. You can start saving with as little as $1. No hidden fees, no minimum balance requirement, no account fees. It's so shocking that you go to, it's like, hey, can I put my money into your bank and place to put money, and they go, yeah, that'll cost you money. And I say, what? That's stupid. Not with Cash App, okay? And we all know that overdraft fees make no sense. Why are you charging someone if they don't have any money? Plus, when you deposit $300 or more in paychecks, you get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. It pays to get paid on Cash App. So go download the app today. Now back to the show. Daddy of the day.
Daddy of the day.
How about the Haas daddies? The daddies over at Haas.
I was thinking about giving it to Jos Verstappen just for creating a guy that can never let up.
Oh, I said Haas, the team, and you said Jos, the man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you did a number on this guy that he's just, that the drive will never leave. He's just the fucking Terminator.
You did. And on this week where he caused a bunch of chaos in the press, which we talked about on the Patreon. So if you want to listen to us talk about the whole Jos Verstappen parade situation and Christian Horner and that whole situation, you go to patreon.com/TRFpod and you
I want to say this. I'll say this about Jos. It's like, because Gunther said this. He goes, he said that Nikita Mazepin, great kid, nice kid. He said, Dmitry Mazepin, his father, was a pain in the ass. But he then said this other thing. He said, Dmitry, he's the father of a racing driver. And then he said, they're all the same. Which is which is what we've been saying is like K-Mag, Lewis, they all have the very exacting whiplashy dads who are like, break here. Now break here. I can't do it, Dad. Shut up. Yes, you can. Like they all have that sort of intense whiplashy dad, but some dads create Nikita Mazepin and some dads create Max. So, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna give shout outs to both. You know what? Max and Lando are both just like out there fucking being psychos today. And so I'm giving credit to both of those daddies. But I'm gonna give to the fucking Haas daddies, to fucking K-Mag and Nico Hulkenberg.
They got spicy today, though. They were battling each other. They almost fucked it up. And they said, K-Mag, they said, Kevin, let's preserve your tires, which is like subtext for like team orders. Yeah. Love the subtext. Yeah. And then you couldn't write this better in a movie. K-Mag then goes, is Nico also being told to preserve his tires? And they're like, yeah, we're just trying to preserve our tires. And he just went, fuck that. He just went full Tony Soprano. He went full Tony Soprano. Hey, fuck that. Fuck that.
He's got to preserve his tires. I don't want to do that. No, this sport is like, and today, I think there's been like a rep. People have talked about like the nicey thing. I think like a bunch of the older generation. And today, we were doing a little bit of man on the street in the UK, asking people about Formula One while the Euros were happening, because we were like, England, do you guys actually give a fuck about Formula One? And we were talking to this one guy, and he was like, I don't really like it anymore. It's like everyone's too nice. They all like each other. There's like, back in the day, it was like competition, and there was like bad blood, and there was rivalry. And I think we're starting to head into like, with the rise of the popularity and the fact that there wasn't necessarily competition up at the front, and kind of everyone was eating, it's like, oh, we're all making money here. We're all doing well. Like, who cares if you're not, if you're in fifth or sixth, whatever. It's
used
like,
to be you just went out of business if you fought.
Right. You
just weren't a team anymore.
And now everyone's kind of eating, but now it's like everyone was comfortable in that. And now it's like, wait, like, who's getting the best meal here? And I want the fucking best meal.
Right. That's the problem with F1 now, is like Alex Albon can be rich and famous now. It's like, wait, what? Right. That didn't used to be the case. You were not rich and famous if you drove for the second worst team on the grid.
Right.
Which is what Williams is. They're the second worst team on the grid. Yet they're courting Adrian Newey and Mike Sainz. James Bowles is a fraud. The other bit of subtext that was like, the language Norris was using was so interesting to me. He's like, he just went, I really wanted to get back out there, but the car was just so broken. Like the way, like the language.
Yeah.
Because the car was so broken. And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the car? What's broken, Lando?
Who's broken here, Bubby?
He didn't say the car. Usually it's like someone like Oscar Piastri is like, he'll just say like the car took too much damage, or I was lost 10 points of downforce. Lando said the car was just too broken to go on. Like, he shows such emotional language. Like, his choice of words was so telling. I love that. Like, that's no. Unfortunately, like, think everybody's eating maybe a little too well, but I think Lando wants it really bad, and the World Drivers' Championship is just that. It's the Iron Throne. It's the Iron Throne that they all want, and that's very good for the sport. Hottest moment of the day.
Hottest moment of the day. Let's see.
I was a puddle of cum a couple of times. I would say, when George told Toto to shut the fuck up, obviously I was just ecstatic.
Yeah.
The through goes George. There was that was like multiple orgasms for me. The through goes George. Just shut up and let me drive. Fuck off, Dad.
Shut up.
Get out of my room.
Drive,
exactly.
drive.
That sequence. It was a sequence. It was the crash through. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. The dawning realization that George could win this race. Shut up, Dad. Get off my dick. And then Oscar's fucking getting signs. It was just best sequence of events. That sequence, that's what we play for, dude.
Unbelievable. It's what this week, the best fucking week. It's the best weekend ever. It's the best race ever.
Yeah, the best race ever. That was the hottest moment.
LVGP. This is the only time that I might actually give it the fucking edge over the Las Vegas GP.
Yeah, no, this is better than LVGP.
Dude, can you imagine how good the Las Vegas GP is going to be? Oh God, it's going to be amazing. This year? Are you kidding me? Okay, Karen of the day.
Karen of the day. Who was being a Karen?
I mean, Christian Horner was being a little bit of a Karen after the race, saying he said that Lando was not behaving well. He said, "Well, Lando wasn't behaving well." It's so funny when like the people are like, if you're on the side of it, when you're just like, they're like, yeah, that's crazy. He's crazy. What's he doing? He's throwing it up the inside. It's crazy. And then like you move under braking and cause the accident, and they're like, yeah, but Christian the inside. That was crazy.
No, but when I saw some of Christian's interview, it's like you can tell when they're just on the party line.
He's not as full fucking gusto with it. Yeah.
Yeah. If Christian actually thought that Lando was being irresponsible and that Max was in the right, he would be screaming about this. He would be complaining about it. But he went, it was an unfortunate thing. He said some things. She said some things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it was kind of.
No, it's true. If you read between the lines, it was pretty calm and tacit. It was pretty not with his chest.
Honestly, that's Karen true. Of the day was a bit Max, just of how Lady Macbeth he was getting. Like about the car and the engine and the tires and all the. I mean, I think they probably air more of his complaining, because anytime he complains, it's like, hey guys, don't turn off yet. Max is saying, talking about wind and engine modes, and so I think it's skewed. Anytime he complains, it's definitely broadcast. But watching him go Lady Macbeth and then finally going out damn spot and then killing Lando was awesome.
Yeah. No, he went the full distance with that.
Yeah.
Radio of the day. There was just so many.
It was easily just let me fucking drive.
Yeah. Just let me fucking drive is so amazing.
To a billionaire, dude. To your billionaire boss.
And then he apologizes to you after.
Apologize. He
That
sunned
is
Toto.
That is king shit.
Yeah, that was
That's
King
fucking
George.
king shit, dude.
Yeah, that was the best moment.
And final red flag of the day. Okay, I got my red flag of the day. We haven't talked about this yet. Fucking Charles Leclerc's 85 pit stops.
And then they told him he'd get points. And then they told him he'd get points. I'm like, what are you doing? Giving this guy hope?
Fucking kidding? You'll get points? Shut the fuck up.
And then he didn't get points.
And then he didn't get points. And it's so funny with Ferrari. Like, we really thought, like, after Monaco that, like, they had turned a corner. Like, oh, like, look, the curse is lifted. They finally got the win for Leclerc in Monaco. Like, they don't do...
Lewis is looking like a genius.
Exactly. Lewis is looking like a genius. They replaced Javi.
Yeah.
They've got Brian in there now. Like, this is like, it's a new Ferrari. And listen, I have faith in Fred, but at the end of the day, Fred's one man. And Ferrari is the organization that it is, and it moves. You can't turn that ship around. One man can't turn that fucking... It's a fucking battleship. It takes a long time. And, like, since Monaco, it's just been a nightmare.
Been a disaster.
It's been a nightmare.
I think he has, like, two good luck points, and they just blew their good luck load or their competence load in Monaco. Yeah. And it's just, it was a monkey's paw. You ever monkey's paw? It's like, you'll win Monaco, but you'll just lose every other fucking race by,
right.
It's this Faustian bargain type of situation. Yes. Like, he used all of his luck credits on the limited luck credits he had on Monaco. And the curse is now on every other race. Now it's not the Monaco curse. It's the fucking every other fucking circuit curse. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Also it was crazy. Like, Logan Sargent, like, started from did he start from no, he didn't start from the pit lane, but he also pitted. Like, what is going on with that team? Like, he pitted at the same time. It was so funny because it was like Charles Leclerc pitted because he had the damage. And then it's like, oh, Logan won't be in last. And it was almost like Williams was like, no, you have to be in last. You come in too.
Yeah. It's not fair. No. This is wrong.
It's weird for you to be P19. You have to be P20.
Right.
Although I want to say this about Logan Sargent. He did outqualify Albon in sprint. He did. And he was only a 10th off or something. He was not far off in... Now Albon proceeded to have finish P13, P14, or wherever he finished. And Logan finished last but so he had a relative.
Yeah, Albon was 15th and Logan was last. Yeah, behind. I mean, Lando, but yes, last.
Wait, I want to say what a race for. I found myself watching Alex Jakes again.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is really good, and he brings the excitement. I miss Brundle. That's what I realized. Like, where the fuck has Brundle been? Crofty wasn't. Where the fuck are these guys?
Well, wasn't Brundle there today?
Brundle was there, but the other guy wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't. Crofty.
Oh, you know what it was? I didn't even hang around for Brundle. I heard the other guy. I was like, "Fuck this! Give me Jakes. Give me Jakes." But last time it was Crofty, no Brundle. I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" And I thought,
you got to be together.
You know what I realized though? I like Alex Jakes, and I think DC and Palmer are good.
Yes.
But Brundle brings the cattiness that I need.
Yes.
Like, Brundle just says things because he doesn't give a fuck. Whereas I need Nico Ross. I need a wild card on that other broadcast to perfect. I need Alex Jakes and Nico Rosberg is what I need to be the next generation. Because DC and Palmer are too down the middle. Although Palmer did make me laugh one time when they were like, "This is the worst Renault position since they were Tolman." And Palmer was like, "Really? This isn't..." He was like, "It wasn't 2016? They were pretty fucking bad in 2016. Which is when he was there.
Right. Yeah.
And they were like, and who was the driver line up there? And he was like, and then Palmer even said, he was like, I think it was K-Mag doing most of the driving that year. And he was like, did a little self-deprecate. It was cute. But you're allowed to be edgy when it's about yourself.
Right.
Whereas like Martin Brundle's just like shitting down the necks of like other people, which I love. So I think that's what I want the next generation to be. Alex Jakes, who brings a lot of excitement and just really matches the energy of like what's happening. But the other guys, I need you guys.
We need Nico.
I need Nico.
Nico's
I
the
need
fucking
a wild card. Yeah. He's the next Brundle. There's no one's recognizing it.
No, whenever we're graced with his presence, it's fucking beautiful. Okay, fuck, marry, kill the podium. George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz.
Well, for obvious reasons, I have to marry Oscar Piastri because we don't want to upset certain listeners who actually listen to the end of this podcast, and we're thankful when they're not fucked or killed.
That's right.
It's like, thank you for not fucking and killing my son. That's really nice of you. We're nice like that. And then I guess I'm still fucking George for the story. Like, I can't. How am I not fucking Sainz though?
Because you hate him. Well, I guess maybe that's why you do it.
Well, wouldn't that be awesome? How jealous would everyone be if I fucked Carlos Sainz? He didn't even like Carlos. He's a LeClerc's stan.
So
yeah, that's my call.
I'm gonna marry George Russell because at the end of the day, like, he might be kind of embarrassing to bring to a party and this, that, and the other, but he's so unique that I think that you would just grow to love him. You just grow to love all the quirks.
Never a dull moment with George.
Yeah. And then I'm making love to Oscar Piastri and I'm killing Carlos Sainz. Yeah, and we were talking about the Charles stuff, but we should get our Charles the Charles the Martyr shirt because Ferrari's just putting in a fucking work on him. Okay, we got Silverstone. We're here in England. We are in England. Silverstone is coming up on Sunday. We will be there. We will be in attendance. What are you thinking is going to happen?
Well, first I want to ask you, did anybody care about the Norris George win, or was it just all Euros? Because this was the best Euro ever.
Yeah, I mean, we were asking people today. There'll be a clip up coming of it soon of like, what was a bigger win, England winning today in the Euros or George Russell winning? And 99% of the answers were the Euros. And then one guy was like, George, and they're like, well, we were supposed to win. The guy said he was like, we were supposed to win today's game and we barely won it. And George wasn't supposed to win and he won. So he had like a logic of that.
But that shot was like the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It was amazing. Yeah.
But when you realize you're doing it against like a Haas of a team,
exactly.
And you're like Red Bull.
You're finishing behind Haas and you're fucking Nico Hülkenberg. Oh, that's another one. Sorry. I'm going back. We didn't mention this, but Nico Hülkenberg versus Sergio Perez at the end of that race.
Did Nico beat him?
Yes, he held him off, and it was like fucking crazy. It was like Checo was driving on tilt.
Yeah. The other thing that was fucking crazy was Max panicking about the Haas's behind him that were going to unlap themselves.
Yes.
I'm like, what world are we in?
What world is this?
He's like, don't worry about Norris. Like, Norris is this. Norris is struggling on his tires. He's like, I'm not worried about Norris. I'm worried about the fucking Haas's who are going to unlap themselves and then slow me down.
Dude, Nico Hülkenberg, the fucking like embarrassed by Daniel Ricciardo, out of the sport for multiple years, and now is just like in his fucking moment. It's sick.
That's a great point.
Gotta
like
love it.
Nico is like looking set for the next few years.
Yeah.
What a reversal. What a reversal.
And who do we have to thank for that? Gunther Steiner. We will be doing a Gunther Steiner episode of Vanka hours, so we'll cover more of this shit. Okay, but hold on. Silverstone, predictions, thoughts.
I think they might touch again.
I think they're going to touch again.
I think they might touch again. I think Lando is going to be at fault. I actually think Max is going to try as much as he can try to hold back, and Lando's going to fucking send it, and they're going to fucking crash.
Yeah, I think that Lando's so like jumpy around him now, probably, that he's literally like he's going to be over expecting Max to drive crazy. That then Lando might do something reckless, Lando might do something wild, but it's like it's gonna be the two of them at the front again.
I think it's gonna be a shit show.
It's gonna be a shit show. I would not be shocked if neither of them finish that race.
Through goes Piastri.
I think we might get again.
I think we might get a through goes Piastri if he can just, not get so. He's been snake bit the last couple of qualifyings.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy.
But no, I think that track's going to really benefit the McLaren. Like,
right.
Like the OG of this McLaren was like high speed corners. Like that's what they did best. That's like where they kind of came out.
Pole. I think Lando's getting pole. I think the only way they don't crash is if Oscar can get P2 and then maybe they can fucking work together or something.
Right.
Although if the sprint is any indication, Oscar's like, fuck that noise. It's my turn. It's my turn, bitch.
Yeah. If you want to hear us discuss the sprint, you can go over to patreon.com/TRFpod and hear us discuss all of that over there. But I'm with you. It's going to be a fucking thrill. What a fun time. Like the fact that we're
what a time to be
there.
alive. What a time to be in England. So exciting.
So sick.
It's so sick that we're in England.
It's so sick. We're going to be
What
there.
neighborhood are you in, Brian? What part of England are you in again? Hackney?
I'm in West London, but tomorrow I'll be in East London.
I'm in North London, where Amy Winehouse, roundabouts where Amy Winehouse is from. Bunch of the chavier Jews, and we're like the chavier Jews live.
Right. If you're going to be at the Silverstone race, we'll do some type of fan meetup time. So stay tuned for that. We got Vank Hours coming up later this week. We're going to be in person with Gunter. We have a bunch of really exciting stuff coming for you that we're going to be filming this week. We got big interviews, bunch of stuff. Just get ready. Hold on to your fucking seatbelts.
Yeah,
because the red flags are in full force as Formula One is getting fucking good again.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
The cure to jet lag, Brian, is fucking Austria 2024. Just watching that race, I was like,
dude, I was falling asleep for the first 40 minutes of that race.
So
I was like, this fucking. Oh my god, they had a bad pit stop. Oh,
it's so crazy.
All right, Vegas.
Back left. We were talking. That's like one of the first things we noticed about this sport is like this pit stop that doesn't seem slow to like the untrained eye is like devastating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy that.
And today's was that it. And also, I know that this episode keeps going on, but like, it was a bold strategy move that McLaren was like, we're going to
match him. We're going to match him. We're going to match you.
And like, let's see how
it put them under pressure. It put them under pressure.
Yeah. It's
which
chess.
And also they almost got where Max like merged like a dick. I'm gonna say it road. It's like, hey, Max merged like a dick. Like, oh, unsafe release.
Right.
They're like, oh, we almost got him on the unsafe release. Let's try this again. It's like almost like a pump fake to try to get the guy to foul you.
Yes.
That was great.
No, it's fucking
epic.
I'm looking. It's like every week now. Because this was a race where like we had seen this race many times, and it always ends the same way. And then today, it just didn't end the same way. And I'm like, oh, wait, do these races, like, they maybe won't end the same way? This is amazing.
Well, they've yet to end in a Lando win.
Yeah, I'm taking this day as a win for Lando. This is better to me. This is literally better than a win. No, this is
better. This is better. It's not better than a win, but it's better than the alternative. I'd rather him crash out than and expose Max as Max is caught under the fucking prison lights shivving Lando. Like he's not learned anything. Like this was a PR wise, this was a hit for Max and
I
shows that Lando has a dog.
I think that long term, this is better for Lando because he knows who Max is now, and Max has the spotlight on him. So I think if Max had been polite and then was it crazy next week, then it might be oh, what? That's another, I'm maybe I'm just a Delulu Lando.
No. Max was caught relapsing. Max was caught relapsing. This was a relapse.
The Max Verstappen relapse title episode.
Max was 2 years terrorism sober.
Yeah.
3 years, almost 3. He almost had 3 years. He was almost about to get his 3 years no terrorism chip.
Yeah, he was 2.5 years in.
He was 2.5 years in. And he was going to get a cake, and everyone was going to clap for him, and he was going to thank his sponsor. Who is his? Who is his real? He doesn't have a sponsor telling him don't be a psycho. He doesn't have one.
No.
He's he was white knuckling this whole time. That's his sponsor. That's what's keeping him sane.
I'm watching Vanderpump Rules right now, and James Kennedy, DJ James Kennedy, is the most alcoholic person I've ever seen. Anger issues, alcoholism, substance abuse, everything. And then he gets sober. And he gets sober because his girlfriend gives him an ultimatum. She's like, I'm going to break up with you. And if you don't get sober. And spoilers if you don't want to fucking know this, but I'm in the Vanderpump zeitgeist right now. And so he gets sober, and literally everyone's like, we love James now. He's so much better to be around. He's so much less volatile, blah, blah. Then he and that girl break up because his temper's still really bad. He's not drinking, but he still has a really horrific temper.
Well, you're treating you're treating a symptom. You're not treating the problem.
Exactly. And then he immediately is with this new woman now who he's a month after this girl breaks up with him. He's like, I found the new love of my life and I'm drinking again. And you're literally James, no. Listen, he makes amazing television. He's one of the best people I've ever seen on TV, but he's a psycho, and he is just I'm watching him currently revert into every single one of his old ways. And that was Max Verstappen today. He was full James Kennedy. And if you're a Vanderpump person, then that was really for you. And if you're not, then you should watch it.
I'm sorry.
It's the greatest show I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I just don't want this episode to end because
I don't want this episode to end. I just want to live in this moment for the rest of my life.
I know. We keep not ending this
episode. I'm just gonna lay in bed, jet lag, being wide awake, being because I did the thing where I slept when you're not supposed to sleep, but I was
right.
I'm just gonna be laying there being wow.
I'm gonna watch the last 10 minutes of this race. I think for years to come.
Just whenever I'm feeling blue.
Yeah.
It's gonna be my picture in Collateral that Jamie Foxx puts on the top of the cab.
Exactly.
It's his happy place. This is them crashing and George going through is my happy place.
It's so good. Okay.
Do you feel like you're the father? Do you feel like you're the father who it's okay, if you're being bullied, you tell the teacher, and if that doesn't work, then you fucking pop him. And that's what your son did. That's what your son did at the schoolyard today. Your son, Lando Norris.
That is what my son did at the schoolyard today, and I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. You don't start the fight, son, but you finish it.
You don't start it, but you're allowed to finish it. You're allowed to finish it.
Yeah.
He brought it to him today. I was fucking
Is that what parents tell their kids these days? Because my parents were like, so. Don't hit other kids, but like if they hit you, then yeah, you can fucking throw hands.
And he didn't get in trouble.
Yeah, and he didn't get in trouble. And that was my
And he still won driver of the day.
And he still won driver of the day. The driver of the day should have been probably Oscar Piastri if we're going by like who made up the most places. Because driver of the day is usually like the guy who qualifies like shit. And like hustles the car.
I mean, driver of the day is the popularity contest, and right now Lando Norris is fucking winning that every single week. But yeah, Jenny says it should have been Nico. I mean, many people it could have been today. Okay, we've got more. We're gonna be talking about this race more with Wintersteiner. So there's more fucking meat on this bone that we'll get to fucking chew on. So we're gonna let you all get back to your lives, enjoy your days, even though it won't be as good as today was because this is the greatest race that's ever existed. How it stacks up to the Las Vegas GP, arguably it was better.
It was better.
But who knows? Who knows what will happen this year in Las Vegas? This is the best season of Formula One ever. It's amazing for business. It's beautiful. Goodbye, Vegas.
Goodbye, bankers.